Welcome, everyone. Drink while you think. I'm Kenji.
I'm Matthew.
Do not adjust your television that people don't watch anymore. But yes, we have Liz Mason is with us.
What up?
Woo!
Hey,
Super excited. First guest of 2020. And talk about
Oh, sweet. First guest of 2020. I guess we are still pretty early, but it feels like this year's been going on for a while.
A long time.
I know, it's almost March.
It's cool.
Right?
But the cool part was I got to see Liz like a month ago.
It was fantastic. We had a great breakfast.
My friend Jan. I got to meet your little boy named
August.
August.
Yeah.
It was cool. He just finished skiing too. He was like,
Yep.
to rip it up. He was showing me his skiing video. It was awesome.
How old is he?
3. He is 3 and he goes skiing for 6 to 8 hours straight and refuses to eat or take breaks.
I'm gonna say he's gonna be like his mama, a ski racer.
Yep, that's his goal. He wants to be a spaceboat pilot or a ski racer. Those are his 2 dreams at the moment.
Keep them both.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I want to be a spaceboat pilot too. Is that a thing?
After family, the second most important question we have to ask you is, what are you drinking today?
Oh, I am drinking some scotch. Pause. Here you go.
Woo!
Fancy scotch in my fancy scotch glass. Cheers.
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 Scotch. Nice. Okay, Mr. May, you brought us.
Oh, I brought you something.
You go first.
I stole some crazy stuff. So in the building here, we steal beer from clients. So I'm doing a blackberry lemon sour from Monday Night Brewing.
Oh yeah.
So it's
That'll be
called
interesting.
Dr. Robot.
Nice.
I got something equally quirky for you.
Okay, you got me the Terrapin Senior Crunkles Tropical Agave IPA. Okay.
Fancy.
Next
You guys look like, cool kids over there, and I'm like, old white dude, scotch. We're good.
Yeah, that's
We're
legit.
breaking down barriers.
Anyway, cheers, friends.
Cheers.
How's your
Tarts? Well, blackberry lemon sour. That was better than, but I didn't want to do the Sweetwater 420 again.
That's
like that was goes straight for the taps.
And you scotch, you've had that before. Clear that bottle's kind of like, you've
Getting
been
down
working on that.
I mean, I might have a few in my office.
I see another one in the background. Yeah, so maybe you do.
Yeah, there's a bottle of Glenlivet back there too,
You're halfway through busy season.
Yeah, although, that one, I didn't drink that much of it. I'm pretty sure people on my team just keep and like slowly siphoning it off.
That's nice.
So you got to do.
Yeah. It's okay.
So there are always, I think of my friend Liz, I think of 2 words. World domination.
Heck yeah.
World domination. That is what I think of it as. Probably because, you're out there trying to take over the world. But
yeah,
how many companies, entities do you have today? Are you involved with?
Okay, so we have High Rock Accounting, we have Rebel Rock, we have Tackle, we have the tax department, and then I personally run a little real estate investment fund.
It's just fine.
So do you have
Yeah, at the moment.
Sounds like you have more companies than like members of your family.
Of my immediate family, yeah. I mean, I have 1 kid and 1 husband, so like there's 3 of us. But
so when you have you get a 5-to-1 ratio of like entities to kids, or anyway, that's kind of like you're out there dominating shit. You're out there kind of.
I should probably give one of the entities to the kid. Like, happy 4th birthday, August. Here's a company. Now learn to run it.
Well, you can, as soon as you start, as we were talking about before, like your space boat company.
Yeah, totally.
That should be the one for him. But give me the rundown on so High Rock I know of because you and I have done stuff before, spoken together before. I would say outsourced accounting, cloud accounting, modern practice, kind of like most of us are doing, right?
Yep.
When did you start?
2013.
Okay, 2013.
Yeah.
When did these others I know weren't Rebel Rock and Tackle kind of around the same time?
Yep. Yeah, so Rebel Rock, we started January of 2019, and effectively we spun up Rebel Rock to do accounting in the cannabis industry. So we're using the High Rock model, all cloud-based technology. We compensate our team members the same way, which is a percentage of revenue and a bunch of other complicating factors because I don't like anything to be easy. And then, we focus really heavily on the humans inside of that. And so Rebel Rock is pretty awesome. Our branding is actually, it's pretty badass if you ask me.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so under Rebel Rock, we actually have 2 subsidiaries. We have Rebel Ventures and Rebel Strategies. So Rebel Strategies, we're focusing on helping cannabis companies get funding, working through M&A. As you know, like that industry is really volatile with all the legality, questionable issues that are happening at state and federal level, especially around the world as things are starting to evolve in the industry. So there's a lot of M&A activity. And so we found a little niche in there helping companies either get acquired, get ready for acquisition, or get ready to go public. And then on the flip side, we're working with a bunch of investors. And so we're kind of a matchmaker in that space. And that has been amazing and fun to grow and also weird. I end up with like the weirdest stories, guys. Like stuff you would be like, is that real life or is that some kind of sitcom I just watched? Like for real, you want to know one day last week?
Yes.
Okay, so one day last week, I get a text message from my lawyer on like Wednesday night, and he says, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Work." He says, "Cancel all your meetings. I'm picking you up at 7:30." And I'm like, I mean, okay, Andy, I love you. I trust you. Like whatever you say, fine. I'll cancel my meetings. You pick me up at 7:30. Andy shows up. Front seat, he has a Canadian billionaire who invests in all sorts of cannabis stuff in the car. So Melissa and I get in the car and we're like, okay, what's going on? He goes, we're driving to Tucson. We're like, oh, okay, what's in Tucson? Right? Like what's in Tucson? We're in Phoenix. It's like a 2-hour drive. Okay. So we're in the car with Andy, Canadian billionaire, driving down to Tucson. We get there. So we get to this grow and we're touring a grow operation. So this 40,000 square foot facility, like brand new, state of the art. They have like 10 giant HVAC units on the sides, like really cool facility. So we get there and get introduced to the company. The guy that's giving the tour is a guy by the name of an ex-MMA fighter whose business partner is an ex-NFL player whose other business partner is like this Wall Street guy that was running hedge funds at like 16. So like all this crazy stuff is happening. Then we're eating lunch with these guys and I'm like, all right, I'm sitting here with like 3 people north of 100 million in net worth, plus this like Canadian investor billionaire, like random grow people that are talking about like illegal trade. And I'm like, okay, this day can't get any weirder, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, you want to know where we had lunch? We had lunch at a freaking pizza place, like the most random pizza place you could have ever like think of. So I'm like, okay, whatever, Tucson. So then we leave and I'm like, okay, what's our next stop? Because it's, only like 1 p.m. And he's like, oh, we're going to a bug farm. I'm like, a bug farm? Like, okay, what are we doing? So we go to this bug farm and the bug farm is like legitimately the coolest thing I've done in years. It's like all these trailers where they grow bugs. And so they've like organically grown pest control bugs. So they have these little parasitic wasps that lay their eggs inside of maggots. And then the maggots obviously like don't hatch into flies. They hatch into more parasitic wasps. So it controls flies for like all of the horse racing tracks and stuff like that. And then they have these assassin bugs that are totally carnivorous and they only eat other bugs. They won't eat plants. And so they're launching these assassin bugs inside of grow houses so that they don't eat the cannabis. They eat all the pests that are killing, the grow operation to make it fully organic. And so we meet this like amazing husband-wife team that has grown this company over 42 years and get to tour it. And I was legitimately picking up and playing with handfuls of maggots. So I'm like meeting famous people, touring a freaking weed grow operation, like hanging out with bugs, learning all about organic farming. And then I'm like, why am I here? Like, what was the whole point of this day? I mean, it was freaking cool and weird, but
This is the best guest ever. I told you. Liz, just even the regular daily life of Liz is.
Yeah, this was just like literally last Thursday, the most random day.
It was just a Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
Yeah.
Imagine like just talking over Zoom and like, how much just the stories with Liz. Like imagine this, like she and I, like another friends of ours have been out like on Bourbon Street together in the world. Mm-hmm. So that's when you really get like really good stuff. I mean, it's this good just over Zoom, over video conference. Like,
Well, just imagine August in kindergarten, and mom comes. They ask, "What's your average day like?" And she says, "Let me tell you about the maggots."
Hey, legitimately, you guys want to see a video? I bet I can get this up real quick.
The maggots and the assassin bugs.
Yeah, the assassin bugs were super cool. So the guy with the assassin bugs had like a handful of them, and he's like, "Do you want to hold them?" And I was all, "Can they bite me?" He's like, "Well, technically it's a sting, and yeah, it hurts really bad. Want to hold them?" And I'm all, "No, I'm good. Thanks." So this is me playing with maggots. Can you guys see that?
Oh my gosh.
That is like a whole thing just filled with maggots. I'm just playing with them.
It's like rice or like it just felt like, is it gross?
It felt like little rubber bands, actually, like wiggly rubber bands.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, when she was telling the story, when she was talking about the assassin bugs, I was just fast forward like 40 years, and we're like, oh, I know why like people are running from these assassin bugs now, because
Right.
Liz went in and let one out.
They're going to be like these giant monstrosities, like chomping down the streets.
Oh, that's really
Should be
alien.
fun.
So, okay, isn't tackle more of an HR kind of?
Yep.
How'd you get into HR?
By request, effectively, right? So my clients kept coming back, like if we're running payroll, right? They ask a million HR questions. I'm sure you guys run into this too. Like, is it legal to not pay sick time? Or what do I have to do? Is overtime like a daily calculation or a weekly calculation? Or can I pay my people in weed? True story, real question. I knew the answer to that one. That one I knew was a no-no. But other than that, it's like we're not HR experts. So we brought in Christina Morse as a partner in Tackle, and she's a phenomenal human who has 20 something years of HR experience, although she looks like she's in her 20s. And it's been a lot of fun, actually, and been great to be able to offer that service line to clients, especially, the brand new startups that have no idea what they're doing, and they're hiring like 20 people in the next year because they finally got funding, right? So it's really great to have that.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Clients occasionally have good ideas.
Yep.
Yeah. If you listen to them.
You listen to them and they're like, oh, and I'm also willing to pay you. You're like, wait a minute, maybe there's a business here.
But wait, there's more.
But so you mentioned all those, you didn't even mention, so tell me about what's called Nucleus.
So Nucleus is a subsidiary of Rock. So, I mean, if you count all of our subsidiaries, we have like the Rebel Strategies, Rebel Ventures, Nucleus, and then we have a to-be-named Project Valinor, which is under Rock. So we have like projects, entities, like some of them are single member LLCs, so I don't really count them, but technically they are, So Nucleus is my favorite. That's my brainchild. That's where my passion is coming through. So I had this idea about 5 or 6 years ago, soon after I started the company, a couple of years into it. I mean, as you guys know, you grind, right? You start a company and you grind your freaking butt off to get new clients, to do all the work, to manage everything, to make sure you have freaking insurance, to figure out what insurance you actually need, because like that's a whole other story, right? To register with the CPA board. It took me 6 months to get registered with the CPA board, because you have to fill out the paperwork by hand and like go deliver it with a freaking check. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't have checks, so what do you want me to do? And they're like, that's the only payment form we accept, so figure it out. Like, great. Of course, like I was able to print a check out of zero, but I had to get to that point, right? And this was before they had blank check stock printing available, so then I had to order check stock. It was a whole thing. So all of this combined, plus the lack of like assistant, all these things, I'm like, okay, this is really, really hard, right? And you have a lot of CPAs that would be great at servicing clients, acting as a controller or CFO. I'm doing the CAS model, but they're too risk averse to make the jump. And then they don't have enough gritty. They're not gritty enough to get through the like crap, right? The like 2 to 3 years of just crap, right? Because every entrepreneur knows it's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So Nucleus is my answer to that. And effectively what we're doing is we've built a model where we fast track people from manager, senior manager level to partner knowledge. And so we've built a training course that lasts about a year. And then underneath it, they get access to our brand. We figure out their insurance. We register them as the CPA firm in the state that they're in. We do the marketing for them. And then they get access to our back office. So they have an assistant, they have bookkeepers, they have tax people, they have everything they need to be able to function as a controller or as a CFO. And we have, rev cut agreements with them all set up so that they come in, they win the work, we funnel them leads, we train them on sales, we have salespeople to support it as well. And yeah, so it's basically like, here's a baby CPA firm, we're going to seed you, and then you're going to go grow. And we have pre-negotiated rates. If they want to leave High Rock Nucleus, they can, they just buy their book out. And we have it pre-negotiated to be like payment terms already included. And so effectively our goal is to seed little baby CAS firms and let them like come out of High Rock. And the hope is they'll stay forever, but they might not. They might decide they want to scale their own. And that's totally great because I think everybody works better under collaboration.
That is super cool. Do you have to apply to it or submit something? What's kind of the
Yeah. So there is an application process and it's live. It's a big deal. It was like, to get to the point where we're ready to accept applications was a pretty exciting milestone for us. So that went live this week, in fact.
Wow.
So it's on our website. It's nucleus.highrock.co. And then the application is /application. So
we'll link it up too for all of our 10 viewers.
Yeah, all 10 of you can check it out. And
we'll get 11.
We'll get 11, yeah. That's awesome.
August will be like.
That is super, super cool. Like that is just a great way to you and I had discussions before about just the way the space is kind of growing and how do we help kind of empower others who want to get into it. And some of it's come from I know some disappointment actually may be a soft word of what we've all experienced in the profession. It's weird, because it's a profession that I know that I love and I care about, but I also think about what we came through to get here and maybe how we make it easier for others. And so I guess that's my other question for you guys. I know I've heard some of yours before, Liz. All of us, right, we're at big firms. We started at big firms, but probably jumped out at different points because of again, disappointment being probably the nice way to say it. I've heard some of your stories. I'd love you to share a little bit about all right, what made you get the hell out of traditional public accounting? And I want to get yours too, and I'll share mine as well. But what made you get the hell out? What was it?
There were a few catalysts. When I left the last national, or I guess international firm I was at, I left because I had a day where it was the middle of tax season. It was the first week of March. I was working 20-something hours a day, exhausted. And there was this kid on my team who sucked. He was terrible. He didn't do his job. He was late. He left early. He didn't show up to meetings. Clients didn't like him. He smelled a little bit, and he was a really loud chewer, unnaturally loud. And it was really uncomfortable to be close to him. And granted, all of that, fine, not a great employee. It was clear he needed to be let go. And he, in the span of a month, he had, his fiance broke up with him. His house had pipe damage where it was flooding, and he was dealing with a whole bunch of contractors coming to fix it. And his dad was diagnosed with cancer in the span of a month. My boss at 2 p.m. comes over, and he was like, "Where is he?" And I'm I don't know. I don't keep track of everyone on the team. If he's not at his desk, I don't know what to tell you. Give him a call. And so my boss was like, "You call him. Tell him to get his butt back in here. I need to talk to him." And I was like, "All right, whatever." So I call him. And I was like, "Hey, come back into the office. This such and such wants to talk to you. We really need your attention. If you could come in." And he was like, yeah, I'll come in. I just went home to meet a contractor. I'll be right back. So he came back, and he got fired that day. In the midst of all this crap happening in his life, he was fired. And my first thought was good riddance. And then I stopped, and I'm like, no, that is absolutely wrong. This is a human being going through ridiculous life crisis. And yes, it's all happening in busy season, and he's not supporting his team, and he's weird, and he's awkward, and he chews bizarre, but all of those things are not good enough reasons to feel like it's okay to just axe someone mid-season without the ability to like help them transition out or help them through this issue or give them any kind of human kindness, right? And in that moment, I was like, public accounting ate my soul and I want it back. And so that was probably my first big realization and moment of like, F this. Yeah.
Yeah, what's yours? What was, so I love you said.
Well, I left public accounting twice.
Twice. But what was the soul eating like when did you have a moment like that, like Liz did?
Oh, no. I mean, the first time I left was .com boom. I did a startup, did the whole thing. It was
nice.
99, you're like, okay, 99, 2000, everything's going crazy. You want to catch the wave. Went to work for a client, sold it for, stupid $100 million, and it was $1 million in revenue. That was crazy. I was foolish enough to come back to public accounting. And then what was my aha moment? It was this realization that the only way I could make money as a partner, I was a partner in a top 25 firm in the US. The only way I could make more money is if I made the 22-year-olds work 80 hours a week instead of 70 hours a week.
Yep.
And it just, that doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. It's not
right.
fair, it's not equitable. It's
because they're people, not robots.
Yeah.
I remember also,
I might have said a bunch of other stuff at the time.
we probably did.
About why.
We were out doing a lot of this and commiserating about all kinds of things. But I think, I also remember you talking about too, what you experienced, which I don't think very few people get to experience. You made partner at a top 25 firm. You grabbed the brass ring.
Mm-hmm.
You were all kind of taught like
that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do, and you did.
There was a carrot, and it was dangled in front of your face, and you were like, "I want."
You talked about like some of your trickier audit clients and things like this, and how the environment had changed. So things were like.
So I mean, the usual thing at that firm was the bottom 5% of partners got fired. I was like, oh, I'm not a partner. I'm an employee.
Mm-hmm.
Like at this point, when is this? This is kind of 8 or 10 years after PCOB time, right? PCOB came 2, right? So it was about, I made partner in somewhere like 6 or 7, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. One of those times. I could be like old in 07. But I had this realization I was signing PCOB opinions, and there's only like 10 audit partners at the time that could sign PCOB opinions and 150 partners or whatever. And I was like, I make one mistake, like honest mistake. Like there's nobody standing behind me. There's not a firm standing behind me. I'm shot in the head. They're like, thanks, but here, thanks for playing. That was a rogue partner that did something crazy. And
yep.
It's really a crazy environment in the audit side. I feel like, I know tax has its own craziness, but with the PCOB and the complexity of serving public clients, that was just a whole other ball of wax for me. And that was a big realization that I wasn't really a partner. I was an employee there. So that was.
Yeah, mine was. I jumped out pretty early. At the same time, I jumped out during that .com boom. You and I are.
You just didn't go back. That was good.
I didn't go back. Yeah, they probably wouldn't have had me back anyway. But before that, I remember just like it never felt right to me being in big public accounting, especially on audit. Like I remember, it just always felt odd. Blake Oliver and I have talked about this, like how weird of a concept when you always think about it is like, so someone's paying you a lot of money to your firm for you to come in and like be a pain in their butt and bust them and tell them about all the areas that they stink at. Like it's a weird dynamic. And I remember feeling that like on clients, like just was like, they didn't want you there.
They just want you to leave.
Just go away. So I never liked that. And then I think also being young and kind of naive, like you go there and I'm told like, I was at Arthur Anderson and he's like, oh, you're the best of the best. And you're there and like, there's all these really smart people working around you. But it was really cutthroat. It was really like, I didn't know that. I thought, well, I'm just going to work the hardest and be nice to everybody and I'll be taken care of. And I had a situation where I just completely got run over and steamrolled by like a manager and a partner who I had just trusted like years to. I'm like, oh no, they've already got my back. And I missed a promotion, and it wasn't a big deal on this early promotion, but like it basically, someone basically said to me, like, his partner said, like, don't worry, I got your back, you're the all-star, all this stuff. And then it didn't happen, and I just realized, I'm like, this is all just kind of BS. It's just, everyone's out for themselves, and the work.
Absolutely.
And
There's
so,
no human element.
they're very little. And so I guess I was going to lead that up to like my question to kind of finish up with, bigger question, like, people have asked me, so, okay, would you go back and do it all over again? Which is it's always a tough one, because you're like, I don't know, that pain and suffering, I don't know if I want to go there again. What now would you say, like, if someone's in college right now, who's getting an accounting degree, like, again, my path was very much at my school was like, if you make it to the Big Four, hooray, you're great. Like, I didn't even know there was another path. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what we would say to a younger accountant coming to the profession of like, do you just go through that and you learn and maybe you get the experiences that three of us got and it makes you better and towards work, or do you just avoid that whole thing?
So I have a lot of opinions about this. In particular, what you said is very true. They teach students the only path is big public accounting. That's the only path for successful students to have successful careers. So they're starting the brainwashing before these kids even have a degree in accounting, right? And so by the time they get to the point where they're graduating, they've already drank the Kool-Aid. They're like, oh, it's freaking cool to go work 90 hours a week. Like, that's how you pay your dues, and that's how you show that you're worth something. And their dads are like, yeah, kid, like, go work your butt off, and like, go work for DWYT. It's amazing. It's a big name. Your resume will be stellar. It's like going to an Ivy League school, right? And they're getting this fed from them from people that don't even understand the next evolution of the industry. But there aren't as many people like us out in the community talking to these kids. So I make it a point of going down to colleges and speaking and writing and like Beta Alpha Psi stuff and talking about like, what does it actually mean to be in the profession today, right? And I try to break the brainwashing before it happens and talk to them and maybe brainwash them in a different way, which is like kindness and work-life integration and the fact you can use cool technology and not just sit there and like die in the back of an audit room.
Yeah.
It's tough competing though with the KPMG endowed chair, or the
See,
like
that's what
like
I remember.
looking back on those things. Like, if you look how many of those were endowed chairs.
I look back, like, and I actually was really close to my accounting professor. I had some really good accounting professors who knew me, but they were either the Deloitte endowed accounting professor, the Anderson, the KP. They were all part of a system. It's all part of a system, of a big machine to kind of funnel candidates.
Yep. Well, and that's their recruitment machine. I mean, they've invested millions of dollars into those partnerships and relationships so they get the best students. It's all by design, right? But we don't have a CAS company in the US that's big enough to build that recruitment machine, right?
We're counting on you and the world domination. I know. Get there.
We're working on it too. Slowly
but surely, we're getting there, but we're not there yet, right? But so my dad is actually, he's a retired accounting professor. So I was very close to a lot of professors and understanding like how this works. And he was the one that pushed me to start my career at Grant Thornton instead of one of the Big Four. Because he was like, a mid-level firm is going to give you a little bit more, how did he put it? He said, they'll cater to your personality a little more than a Big Four. Yeah. Which of course he was concerned because I was a terrible employee. The entire time I was an employee, I was a terrible, terrible employee. Like, I have my own ideas. I don't follow directions. I'm creative. Like, you tell me to go sit down and do a tax return, and I'm probably researching how to build a robot to prepare the tax return, which I did in my first year as a staff.
Completely unsurprising.
Yeah, I was the bad employee. He was the good employee. I was bad. I cannot believe I didn't get fired.
That's probably why I was out in 3-4 years. You made partner. You were bad. I was good, but good in the sense that like also I was clueless.
You didn't make waves. You didn't do any of that stuff.
Well, and I did.
I made lots of waves. But I made the firms I worked for a lot of money. So they liked me because they liked what I did, but they didn't like me because I didn't listen. I also, so you were talking about how partners are basically employees until you get to like a certain national level. So when I was working for RSM Obladri, I accidentally hacked their HR system. So I could see like what everybody made in every office in the US. Yeah, I accidentally did it. And then of course, like I didn't do it in a malicious way. I was just really curious. And then their security was crap. So then I had to go to their IT team and be like, you need to beef this up, because basically I like backwards engineered my way into it. But that being said, I learned that they made, after overhead allocations, after my salary, benefits, all of it, they were making over $400,000 on me, on my time alone. And when I realized that, and I realized that the partner in charge of my department was only making a little over 200K a year, I was like, that's wrong. That makes no sense. Like, how does this model work? Yeah.
It's the ultimate pyramid scheme.
It absolutely is. Absolutely is.
I remember a partner telling me that when I was at Anderson. He said, do you know why us Arthur Anderson partners make more than the other in a firm? Because we have the best leverage ratio of staff to partners. And I was like, at the time I'm like, whoa, that's cool. I'm at a firm where they make the most money. This is literally how naive I was. I'm like, oh wait, I'm the staff being leveraged. Like, I'm like he's talking about me. Like, to your point.
Yeah. You're the robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad.
You want to come say hi, Stella? This is my daughter. Say hi to my friend, Miss Liz.
What up?
My daughter, Stella.
Awesome.
You're on a real live
YouTube.
Okay.
That was a great face.
You want to back in this? Okay.
For Outmer.
All good. So
Out of school today, so hanging out at the office with them.
nice. That's cool. Well, if my little one was hanging out, he would like be sitting on my shoulders and trying to like get into my computer screen. He's so hyper. But I did think something when I was working in public accounting that taught me what not to do in a way. I realized that humans and people are the only thing that matters to what we do, right? Like having a good tech stack, understanding like robotic process automation, all of that, the way things integrate, like all of that is very important, right? But it is nothing compared to the people on your team. Without good people managing the robots, like you're totally screwed. And something I realized in those firms was what you said, Kenji. They're trying to leverage the people as much as possible. So they are making a profit on the hours and not considering them human, right? It's just what their productivity is available. And so they don't innovate, because innovation comes from the ability to see past profit.
Yeah. Well, like you said, when you were kind of behind the curtain of being partners, like, okay, cool. You say go make more money. Go get those 22-year-olds to work an extra 100 hours as busy season and you make more money. You're like,
yeah. I mean, give them bigger billable hour goals.
Yep, that's what you do.
Yep. Increase their productivity. But no innovation, in my opinion, no real innovation can come from people that are only looking at the bottom line, right? Because they're unable to see the creative paths in the way that they can, instead of making people more productive in the number of hours, maybe they make them more efficient, right? Or they incentivize them properly to be more efficient automatically. Or they build a firm where their clients actually give a crap about the people inside of the firm and are willing to pay a fair rate instead of constantly discounting and writing time off, right? But, my opinions.
Well, that's why I think like when that question's asked to me, like, would you do it over again? In certain ways, yes, because I'm really happy with where I am now. I was worried like if you go back and, change time, like in any movie, the butterfly effect, right? You don't get to where you are now. I'm really grateful for the community that we're in and what we're kind of building. But like, yeah, for a young professional coming out in accounting, like,
come work for us.
Yeah, here we go. Come work for somewhere else. Not going to crush you on hours and
come
right. Exactly. I think we're the light side, actually.
Well, and here's how we know this.
The dark side is more fun to say.
Yeah. Here's how we know this, and I'll close us out at this. Is like, we're here drinking on a Friday afternoon. It's 4 o'clock here. It's earlier for you. It's hours there. I'm like, is it 2? 2:30?
Yeah, it's fine. We start drinking at noon. It's cool.
Today officially is, you realize, a traditional term, it is officially the halfway point of busy season today. Today, yep. I think it's like a 16-week is busy season, and we're at week number 8. So There's a whole bunch of our unfortunate
I don't miss that.
peers, colleagues who are grinding it out, and here we are kind of shutting our day down and having a drink and talking to friends. And yeah, this is the light side. You're right. This is the light side.
It is the light side. Yeah, I had a moment, I think a few months ago, where I said, okay, I've designed it. I've designed my perfect life. I had like run my companies, which can be super stressful, but I have someone on my team where her title is concept alchemist. And literally her only job is to build the crazy creative ideas that I come up with. That's it. That's her job.
Oh,
it's
man.
amazing.
We need that.
We need that person.
We need like,
Yeah.
well, for you, all the crazy ideas that come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you did, you might end up with as many entities as Liz has.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the outcomes. So.
But yeah, crypto's been as crazy as cannabis. So.
Oh yeah, it has. We were dabbling a little bit in that a couple of years ago. I mean, we have a bunch of clients that use crypto. We had a few clients go through ICO, like the whole fun side of it. But yeah, we level set it on cannabis as a more fun industry.
Yeah, that helps that it's legal there.
Yeah. I mean, it's medically legal, but
medically, just medically.
Yeah.
They're close enough to Colorado.
I mean, we're surrounded by recreationally legal states.
Time before
it's
you
just
know,
a matter of getting in the car.
There you go.
It's on the ballot for this year, so like the likelihood is that it'll pass in Arizona. But I mean, we do work with Canadian companies. We have an Australian starting on Monday. Actually, she's going to start Rebel Rock Australia, and it's medically legal in Australia. Next, they're about 5 years behind us on recreational legalization. So we're just setting the groundwork for world domination.
5 years ahead of us in accounting technology, but 5 years behind us when it comes to cannabis.
Yeah.
Well, if they can get banked, they should be in good shape. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the key. But
it's always.
What
else you got for us, man?
Dude, that's what I got. That's our week. That's our yeah. We're good. I mean, come on, you can't top that.
I mean, I could totally top that. What do you want? I have stories for days.
I know you do. You got to save some of those when we're hanging again and Poland's coming up.
Deal.
But no, I appreciate you so much coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you guys need some random, I'm around.
I mean, literally, this is I told you before. What are you guys doing? Like, it's literally the thing that we enjoy most is talking to our friends about the stuff that we're interested in and having a drink. Like, this is the stuff that if it were practical, you would just do all the time. Talk to your friends about things you're interested in and just like
get energy from it, right?
Totally. But you're awesome. I'm so grateful.
How are you?
And
cheers.
Here's my friend, virtual through the screen, and we'll catch everyone next time on another episode of DWYT. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.